I was the suspect.
We meet again. You know why you're here. I know why you're here. And as they say, the dogs in the street know why we're here. So we might as well get on with this. We know all about this heinous crime you've committed. You see, silence. You're just staring at me right through the wall. Right through to the wall. And I'm looking at you. And I know from my intelligence that you've been trained in anti-interrogation. Well, so have I. You think I'll just sit here for a couple of hours, go back to my cell, lie down, chill out. But then again, you might think, how did the police know to come to my door first thing this morning? How did they know? There was only 3 of us involved in the operation. But anyway, I'm a patient man, and I will win this game. This morning I was at the home of a young woman who had just been made a widow, and she cried, just like your children cried when the bad police came to your house and took you away. But that woman's 3 wee girls cried for their daddy, wanting to know where he was. Do you know where he is? He's on a slab in the mortuary. Is this the last thing he saw before you blasted him into eternity? Those eyes. Who do you think you are to make this woman a widow? How are we going to resolve this? Not by silence. There'll be plenty of time for silence when we're dead. I'm going home tonight. You're not. Not for a long time. Are you taking this in? One day it won't be the judge in Downpatrick or Belfast you'll be standing in front of. Oh, you don't frighten me. There's a camera here, there's one here, and you just want me to punch you. But it ain't going to happen. I tell you what, let me see your hands. The hands of a murderer. Is this an admission? Wake up! This is real. We know you've been playing in the big league for a long time. And we also know you've got a great winger in your team. Yeah? You might know him by another name. I know him as Judas. So whatever way you want to play this game, you're going to lose. Now I'm finished with you for the time being. Officer, come and take this person away. I'll see you later.
I was prisoner 334879, a civil rights activist from the bog side of Derry, from behind the barricades of Rossville Street, the defence of that wee small square inch of land, from a proud Republican history. We were a Catholic family. We all had a PhD in poverty, hunger and damp. It was an everyday thing to see little white coffins on the street. Hey, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up for me? My 2-year-old brother Paul died of measles and poor living conditions. He never should have died. I still see his closed eyes encrusted in a river of blue and cotton wool. My Uncle Joe was a founder member of the Provisional IRA. He, together with 2 comrades, were blown up in a bomb of their own manufacture. 2 children also died. This had a huge and fundamental change within our family. We weren't going to take this on our knees, so we took it to the street. And if we were going to die, then we'd be dying on our feet. They came for me one night with helicopters, sirens and lights. I hid my children in under the staircase with a mattress and some blankets. They charged me with 2 attempted murders and kept me for 2 friggin' years. But the best they could come up with was credit card fraud. This was an Al Capone moment. Would I betray one of my own, or would I sort this out myself? They tried everything they could to break me. They kept me from the Republican wings and in solitary. They thought they had a tiger by the tail, and they weren't going to let go. But I wasn't going down. So I took their beatings, and I didn't talk. I would have lost all respect. Things were going okay until after one visit that left me particularly beaten and emotionally torn. I saw a screw beating up a prisoner. Something inside me snapped. Man's inhumanity to man. This became a political act to defend a fellow prisoner against a PO. So I took the mop and I dropped them. I went to a place I never thought I would go. I went over the top. Clear blue rage and anger. Hate. A screw I knew shouted, "Jesus, Vinny, what have you done?" The next thing was a tsunami of blue helmets, and their training was perfect. But you know something? I wasn't fucking bad myself. Come on, lads, let's get it on. I'm your man. We clashed. Crushed out against the wall. Heat. Tagged out. They threw me into my cell. Now the real hard time began. I'd done everything I could to protest their violence and torture. I smeared myself with excrement from head to toe to stop them from getting their hands on me. I lived in solitude and filth. I became a fucking animal.
Then one day, the most beautiful opera music began coming through the wing. I thought, oh, what a wonderful screw has tried to bring such beauty and humanity into this hellhole. I could feel my soul being soothed. The next thing I knew, they were in the cell, giving me the worst beating of my life, and you couldn't hear my screams above the sound of the music. 3 things I knew. They'd be back. I'd be here, and this tango for death would begin again. Then one day, they threw a pair of white rugby socks into my cell. Gee, do you know what you can do with rugby socks? You can make a ball, you can make a pillow, you can even wear them. I had them for 3 days. Then they came and told me they were going to clean my cell. Life was looking up for me. So they moved me to another cell further up the corridor. We were no sooner in the cell, another vicious beating. They started unscrewing the window grill and tied the socks to it. They pushed my head through. I was swinging like a rat, Somehow I got a burst of superhuman strength. I was able to break free. I got my way to the fire alarm and I hit it. All hell broke loose. They threw me back into my cell. They left me alone for a week. I didn't talk. It became a Mexican standoff. I didn't eat for 69 days. I drank my own urine because I was afraid they'd poisoned the water. Fucking hate. I got weaker and weaker. I went in and out of consciousness. I hadn't seen a doctor. I was dying. I was hallucinating. My body was cannibalizing itself. I no longer cared. I prayed to my brother Paul, please send me your angels. Help me. I saw little white coffins, Japanese blossom trees. Jesus, take me. My mother didn't know what had happened. Then one evening, she had a vision of Paul standing by the edge of her bed. Vincent needs you. My mother went up to the prison. I want to see my son. He's not here. They weren't going to let her see me in the condition I was in. So a group of women locked arms and refused to leave the visiting area until I was brought to her. The extraordinary power of a group of mothers and grandmothers. They somehow got me seated. I could see a very tall, blonde woman. She looked like my mother. She was screaming, "That's not my son." She threw her body over me. They promised her they would take me to hospital, but they didn't. They brought me back to the block. I heard leather soles and steel tips coming up the corridor. This was someone different. It sounded like a soldier. I thought, this is an assassin. Now it was really over. But this man asked me did I need help, and saw to it that I was transferred to another prison. When I got there, the nurses cried. My hands were the size of termites. How long has he been in? Some of these injuries are weeks old. I heard governors and someone else arguing. They moved me to a military prison. Someone put me in a bath. I could feel a man drying my back. He gave me my decency. He rubbed me with Johnson's baby powder, then put me into pajamas. Then I was put on a gurney. I could smell candles burning, sheepskin, pillows, chanting, prayers, contrition, oil on my hands and feet and ears, being anointed. He may not make it through the night. Who are they talking about? Oh, sweet Jesus, let me see the light of day. Then the governor come and the doctor. They took the white sheet from the mirror. Who is that? Jesus, it's me. I was in hospital between two Brits and a prison officer. The nurses rubbed oil on me. It was the first gentle human touch I had felt. I could feel the love coming through their fingers. I knew then this all had to end. I had to forgive the men who had brutalized me. I couldn't live with the hatred anymore.
"18 years later, I had a similar dilemma. My 31-year-old nephew Kieran was taken by a paramilitary murder squad, stripped naked, brutalized, and left by the side of the road, while his blood ran down a windswept hillside. He was found shortly later in the rain, by a priest who had just said a healing mass. And I had a decision: revenge or forgiveness. I thought of Kieran's mother's grief-stricken eyes. And I thought, no, I can't be like the men who carried out these acts. This endless cycle of murder must stop. So, I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. There is only one thing I want. I want that when the grandchildren of these men sit on their lap, look into their eyes and say, "Granddad, what did you do in the war?"